Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is for all you audiobook listeners, especially the audiobook listeners who are on KU. So a year or two ago, I made a video recommending some books that you can listen to for free on Kindle Unlimited, and I recently got a comment asking for an updated video with some new KU audios, and that's what I'm doing today. It's been a while since I made that video, so there have been a lot more new KU audiobooks, and for anyone who doesn't know, if you do have Kindle Unlimited, there are certain books, it's not a whole lot, but there are some books that you can both read and listen to for free. For free on KU. Whenever I have Kindle Unlimited, I try to make the most of it and I listen to as many audiobooks as I can through it. All the books that I'll be chatting about today are books that I read or they're from authors that I read, but let me know if you're interested in hearing about books that I haven't read yet, because there are still quite a few more KU audiobooks out there, so if you want me to list them all for you, I can in another video. Alright, before I get into all the audiobooks, here's a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Accidental Attachment by Max Monroe. When Brooke sends off her finished manuscript to her new super dreamy editor, instead of her latest paranormal novel, she sends the fan fiction that she's written about her crush, him, including every steamy detail. He's completely oblivious that he's the star of the manuscript. He's just convinced his boss to greenlight. Will she survive the 2 months of revising and editing the sizzling romance that no one, especially him, was ever supposed to see? Accidental Attachment is a secret crush, workplace, friends to lovers, romantic comedy. It's got an adorably awkward heroine and a suit-wearing confident hero, all written in true Max Monroe style. It's available on Kindle Unlimited, so grab your copy today on Amazon. I'll leave a link down below for you all to check it out. A big thank you to Max Monroe for sponsoring today's video. Okay, first up on my list of audiobooks that are included in your Kindle Unlimited subscription is Quinn. Quinn has a bunch of audiobooks that you can listen to on KU. I talked about a couple in my other video, but she has even more now. I have 3 of them to share with you today. So the first one is one that I just recently listened to, which is Runaway Groomsmen. It's about a guy who is at his ex's and best friend's wedding. This is the same ex who cheated on him with that same best friend, and during all this the hero comes to this realization. He's like, why the hell am I here? And he kind of blows up the wedding by leaving in the middle of it and giving the groom and the bride the middle finger. He then goes and hides away to this little small town where the heroine runs this cabin lodging business. She's struggling to keep up with it though. Like, her grandfather was the one who ran the business before her, but he has dementia. Now she's working on these cabins alone until the hero shows up and helps her out. She does have a boyfriend though, so it is a little bit of a slow burn rom-com, but it's really sweet, really fun, and the main characters are so cute together. Another Quinn rom-com is The Highland Fling. This one is a Scottish rom-com set in the Highlands. The heroine and her best friend go to Scotland after the heroine gets fired, and they come across this help wanted ad to run a whole coffee shop. So of course they take that ad, and now they live in Scotland temporarily to run a coffee shop. It's located in this small Scottish town in the middle of nowhere, and the hero is the local handyman. He is a total grump. This one is definitely for all the Grumpy Sunshine fans, and if you like a good Scottish accent, there is one here. And the third Quinn book that I have for today's video is The Wedding Game. This one is kind of like Runaway Groomsmen, where it's touching upon a wedding romance aspect, but it's not actually about a wedding. This one is actually centered around a reality TV show. It's a crafting DIY contest to craft the ultimate dream wedding. The heroine joins because she wants her brother to get his dream wedding, and she is amazing at all this DIY crafty stuff. The hero is not quite as excited to enter this contest. He's kind of forced to by his own brother because his brother got engaged and he needs help with his wedding. So we have 2 competitors on this DIY show, lots of banter, lots of sparks here. It's pretty silly and over the top, but that's kind of what you expect when you get a Quinn rom-com. And then I have a mafia romance series that you can listen to on KU. This is the Kings of New York series by Tijan. Book 1 is A Dirty Business, and then book 2 is A Cruel Arrangement. arrangement. So in book one, you have an opposites attract mafia romance. You can't get any more opposite than a mafia leader hero and a parole officer heroine. These two meet in like the stairway of a hockey game and sparks just immediately fly. At least it does until they actually find out who the other person is. It is slightly forbidden between them just because as a parole officer you probably shouldn't get romantically involved with a New York mafia leader. So that's the main conflict between them. She's on the right side of the law, he is not, and there is quite a bit of good action here as well. And then in book two, A Cruel Arrangement, this one has such a unique setup to it. The sequel is about another couple, but it does follow the same overarching mafia plot from book one. So this one is a unique mafia romance because the heroine runs a bowling alley, except she doesn't actually own it. She had no idea until she meets the hero that her father actually sold the bowling alley to the mafia. The hero owns it now and the heroine wants it back. So these two meet because of a bowling alley, and the heroine constantly gets herself into danger, like life or death danger, and that just exasperates the hero like crazy. If you like mafia romances but you also want something different from the typical mafia romance, the series does have a different vibe to it. I would say maybe give it a try. And then I have Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. I talked about her two other KU audiobooks in my last video, and since then she's come out with a new one, so you can listen to this one through Kindle Unlimited. I will say though, Reminders of Him definitely has a more women's fiction feel to it, so don't expect this to be, you know, romance, though there is a romance in it. It's sweet, but it's just not going to be the main focus. This book as a whole is just gut-wrenching. The heroine was sent to jail for the manslaughter of her boyfriend, who was also the father of her unborn child. So she has her daughter while in prison, and she hasn't been able to see her or hold her since giving birth, but now she's finally out of prison after a couple of years and she wants to reunite with her daughter, who's currently in the custody of her late boyfriend's parents. They don't make it easy for her though. There's a lot of heartache and regret. It's basically a story about a woman who tries to build a new life for herself and her daughter. The romance is with the dead boyfriend's best friend, who has also been taking care of the daughter, but there is an element of forbiddenness here. I really liked it though. It was intense and emotional and a worthwhile read. I'm also including the Miles High Club series by Swan. This is a 4-book series about 4 brothers, and I know a lot of people love it, so I wanted to include it even though it's an okay series for me, but I did recently listen to the 4th book and enjoyed it so much more than the first 3, so I will at least recommend that one the most. Let me just go over the series really quick though. So book 1 is The Stopover. This one is literally about a stopover. The first brother, he meets a woman who sits next to him on a flight. During a stopover, they have this super hot fling and never see each other again until a year later. When they do finally reunite, she's got a new job working at his company where he is CEO. So it's kind of second chance, but it is a very classic office romance where it's boss and employee. Book 2 is The Takeover, and this one I feel like is most people's favorite in the series. It's a single mom romance. The heroine has 3 boys and the hero is trying to take over her late husband's company. So she hates him, he wants her, and they can't resist each other. I like this one okay, but I will say the relationship between the hero and the 3 boys was so hilarious and sweet. And then book 3 is The Casanova, and this one is yet another office romance. This time the third brother absolutely hates his heroine for no good reason. It's an enemies to lovers romance between a boss and employee. I had some issues with it, but if you like the first 2 books in the series, you'll probably like this one too. And then the 4th book is The Do-Over. This is the final brothers book, and this one is my favorite. This one is about the youngest brother, the one who has been spoiled the most and has never really had to work for anything, at least not until he meets the heroine. So in this one, he decides to prove to his brothers that he does not live the privileged life. Like, he's not that spoiled, so he goes backpacking for about a year in Europe without any money, without all of his amenities, and he struggles so hard and it's hilarious. The heroine is also backpacking in Europe and they meet at a hostel. She rejects him hard, she throws him into the friend zone, and the book is basically just him trying to win her over. And yes, he does grow up from the spoiled boy that he was in the beginning of the book. Another audio series on KU is the Ponto Beach Reunion series by Kathy Yardley. This is a series of romances about a group of friends from high school. They were part of the nerdy crowd and they've now all gone off on their own ways. Book 1 is Love, Comment, Subscribe. This one is a romance between YouTubers. These two were friends back in high school, but now she is a beauty influencer and he is a gamer on YouTube. They both have millions of subscribers, but now they've come across this wall, coming across burnout. They're struggling to come up with something new for their subs, so they come up with an idea for a series of collab videos. Their collaboration actually works. It goes viral. They get very popular very quickly. People just love their silly and sweet banter and they start shipping them together, and then they actually do fall for each other. Book 2 is Gouda Friends, and yes, it is a cheese pun. The heroine is obsessed with cheese, which very relatable, and she breaks up with her boyfriend not just because he's cheating on her, but also because he threw out her good cheese. And then the romance here is a friends to lovers romance between high school best friends who've sort of lost touch over the last few years. After the heroine dumps her cheating boyfriend, she realizes that her life kind of sucks. She hates her job, so she calls up her best friend and asks for help. It's fun and fluffy, and the hero is such a sweet and nice guy. He adores his best friend even though they haven't really talked in a while, but he does everything he can to help her get her life and career back on track. It's a kind of romance where you have two best friends who are clearly so meant to be together, who are finally in a place and position to get together. It's just a very sweet, very natural sort of friends to lovers romance. There's also a third book that I haven't read yet, but it sounds amazing. It's called X Appeal. This one is on my TBR. It's a second chance romance, my favorite. It's between a hacker and a company fixer, and this is the couple who's been teased throughout the series, so I need to read it soon. And then Ilsa Madden Mills has another series that you can listen to on KU. I'm pretty sure I talked about her other series in my other video. So this newest series is the Strangers in Love series. It's 2 books. I've only read book 1, which is Beauty and the Baller. Book 2 is Princess and the Player. So in book 1, the main characters had a one-night stand at a party. The hero was this big NFL player, but unfortunately, because of an accident, he loses his career and his fiance, and this party was his first time getting himself out there and not thinking about his grief. 2 years later, after this one-night stand, the main characters reunite as neighbors, but unfortunately the hero does not recognize or remember the heroine at all, so it is very insulting. The main characters are neighbors in this small Texas town. The hero is the high school football coach. Everyone loves him, but he's only there temporarily. But to get all the matchmaking moms off his back, he comes up with this fake dating scheme with the heroine. She does benefit from it too, so it's fun. It's fake dating, sports, and a small town romance. And then book 2 is Princess and the Player, which again I haven't read, but I'll include it anyway. The heroine's fiance cheats on her, so she ditches the altar for a masquerade ball at a sex club. This is where she meets the hero who's in the NFL, and then because of this night, she accidentally gets pregnant. So we have a surprise pregnancy, and they are neighbors here as well. The hero lives in the penthouse of her apartment. Another audiobook on Kindle Unlimited is The Mixtape by Brittainy C. Cherry. This one is a very emotional but very sweet rock star romance. The book opens up with a pretty big tragedy. The hero's twin brother dies in a car accident. He and his twin were part of this band together, and because of his death, the hero does spiral, and it doesn't help that their fans have turned against him. He tries to drink to forget, which is how he meets the heroine, who works at a bar. She is a single mom who's making ends meet, and she's also a huge fan of the hero and his music. So it does get depressing and heart-wrenching because of the hero trying to cope with his loss. The heroine also has some trauma on her own, but it's also balanced really well with the very, very sweet romance. The hero falls head over heels for the heroine and her daughter. If you're craving some P&R, Susan Kazan Wright does have an 8-book paranormal romance series called the Phoenix Pack series. You can listen to all 8 of them on KU, but I've only read the first one. It was so good though, and so hot. It's called Feral Sins, and in this one, the main characters, they form this alliance together. It's basically a fake dating shifter romance. The heroine is a latent wolf shifter, which means that she can't shift, and her family is forcing her to mate with a guy that is sick and disgusting. To get out of this, she makes a bargain with the hero where they'll pretend to be mates. The mating is supposed to be fake, but surprise, surprise, they end up actually becoming mates and actually mating. Things get hot very fast between them, and it was a great shifter romance. I had a lot of fun with it. It's very over the top. Both the main characters are alpha personalities. I do eventually want to get to the rest of the series, but this is definitely for all the paranormal romance fans. And then one of my favorites, Kristen Callihan, has 2 books that you can listen to in audio on Kindle Unlimited. My favorite of the 2 is Make It Sweet. This one has a broody ex-hockey player who falls for an actress. They both meet when they're hiding away from life at this estate in California, which is owned by the hero's family. I love the hero in this one. He is a bit grumpy. He's been a recluse since losing hockey, and he loves to bake, so he's like my dream man. The heroine is awesome too. She is very down to earth for an actress. Sadly, the show that she starred in killed off her character, so now she's kind of floundering with what to do next. So these two get to know each other while they're stuck at this estate, and it's a very sweet romance, no pun intended. The other book from Kristen Callihan is Dear Enemy. This one I didn't love quite as much. It wasn't bad, but it just had an aspect, I don't even know if you can call it a trope, but it was just something that I don't normally like in my books, in my romances. It's when the hero dated the heroine's sister in the past. I'm just not a fan of reading that, and this was exactly that. He dated her sister, they hated each other growing up. Now he's a famous Hollywood star, and his ex has recently just stolen something from him, and in order to pay off her sister's debts, the heroine becomes the hero's chef and assistant. I recently started listening to this next series, which is the Bower Boys series by Kelly Siskin. It's a series about a group of brothers who were forced into the witness protection program for 10 years. This was because of their awful father getting involved in this drug cartel, so they were forced to leave their hometown and leave the woman that they loved. Book 1 is the only one that I've read so far, but this is 50 Ways to Win Back Your Lover. It's a second chance romance between high school sweethearts. The hero, of course, had a reason for leaving the heroine, but he did break both of their hearts when he was forced into the witness protection program. They do reunite 10 years later, totally by accident, and she is not happy to see him. She pretends to have a fiance to keep the hero away, but the whole book is basically him just trying to win back her heart. I'm really excited to read book 2, not just because of this title. It's called 10 Signs You Need to Grovel. The end of the first book teased about the couple in this second book, and it sounds so good. It's another second chance romance, except this time the hero had no idea that the heroine was pregnant when he was forced to go into the witness protection program. So he has a son, a 9-10-year-old son that he has no idea about until now. And then the final series for this video is the Burned Ink series by Naima Simone. The series has such a great premise. Burned Ink is the name of the company that the siblings in the series own. It's a professional breakup company. People hire them to break up their relationships for them. Book 1 is Heated. This one I just read the other day. The main characters meet here because his ex hired her company to break up with him. Of course, when they meet, he has no idea that she is the owner of that company, and this is the first time that she actually feels bad about breaking up a relationship. So when the hero asks her to be his pretend girlfriend for this work event, she guiltily says yes. We have fake dating here, and of course she falls for him for real, but she does keep her identity, her job, a secret. We do get some drama with that, though I personally didn't see why she had to keep it a secret. But Naima Simone's writing is great, and I do always love her steam. Book 2 is Ravaged, and this one sounds like so much fun. This is the next sibling, getting her romance. It's friends to lovers. The heroine's best friend is a professional basketball player and he's been in love with her since forever, but unfortunately for him, she's sworn off athletes. It honestly sounds perfect for me, so this is another book on my TBR and I can't wait to read it. So those are a bunch of books that you can listen to in audiobook on Kindle Unlimited. If you missed my first video and you want some more recommendations, I'll link it down below. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and let me know if you guys want more of these. As always, thank you so much for watching and I will see you all next time. Bye!